Good morning and happy Valentine's Day. What a wonderful day it is, isn't it? So, I just wanted to say, I hope you had a fantastic weekend. I know I did. And today's subject, I am so excited about. There are a lot of different ways to beat procrastination and regain control on your life. And the first step is to actually figure out what causes you to procrastinate. Is it a lack of maybe of energy, or is it that you're too busy and you don't know where to start? Figuring this out will help you come up with a plan, and I love a plan that works for your specific needs. And so with that said, just hang in there and Hey, welcome back to Monday Mastery Moments with Michelle Live, where busy moms who find themselves at mid career, solopreneurs, mompreneurs, you name it, get tangible ways to enjoy the success of life without the sacrifice. I'm live 4 Mondays a month at 6 a.m. Can you believe it? It is 6 a.m. And you can find me on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And I'm here to give you your wake up call. Make sure you follow me on your platform of choice so you don't miss a single episode. You don't want to miss it. And me, well, I'm Michelle O'Neill, your boundaries strategist, and I love a great conversation. So, why don't you grab a cup of coffee, tea, or whatever your warm beverage of choice is, and settle in so that we can just hop on into today's mastery moment. Let's talk about three things that will support you in moving forward when it comes to procrastination. Number one, we're going to talk about know when you're most likely to put things off because there is a pattern to this thing and find out what your triggers are. And number two, we're going to talk about how to get started on your task at hand because sometimes it's just hard getting started. And once you get started, you're okay. And then, third, we're going to talk about the secrets of productive people, the 10 things that productive people do. Well, they do differently. Now, that's not the only things they do, but I want to talk about those 10 things. And let me see who's here with me today. I am so glad that you're here. Let me know who you are and where you're from in the comments. And if you're watching this on replay, remember to put hashtag replay and let me know who you are again and where you're from. And I'm excited about that. But also, I want to know what things are you struggling with when it comes to procrastination? What things just don't work well for you when you're doing this? So, again, you'll see me looking back over the side and everything because I want to make sure that I don't miss your comments, that I actually, let me get this going, see every time that you say something to me because I don't want to miss it. So, with all this said, we're going to go right into the subject today. First of all, know when you're most likely to put things off and find out what triggers it. So, one of those things I know you'll be like, really? Is a lack of confidence. It's things like when you have to study for a test or complete a report because you don't feel that you know what you need to know or that you really haven't put in the time or the effort that you need to put into it. You put it off because it's not what you want to do. It's something that you feel that maybe you're not qualified or you don't know enough, or there's someone else who's better at it than you. And so instead of tackling it and learning the things that you need to learn, or doing the things you need to do to be better at this, like studying for a test. If you know you have to study for a test and you don't feel, read the material ahead of time. Part of studying is knowing what you have to study. So read the material, do some research on the subject so that you feel more confident in it. You have a report to do and you're not sure that you know all the stuff that you need. Do some research on it. Talk to other people about it. Find out things um, that you can find out through other people, through your boss, asking them to maybe clarify some things for you. Talk to friends, but make sure that you don't put it off because it doesn't make it any better. So, like I said, lack of confidence, feeling that you have the ability to follow through. And the reason you have that lack of confidence is because you haven't done the work up front. So it's always about doing the work up front and then you don't procrastinate. Another thing is lack of motivation. It's just something that you're not interested in and something that you don't want to do. And sometimes there's just things in life like that that we really don't want to do, but we gotta do them anyway. Let's think. Cleaning. Okay. I love a clean house, but do I love cleaning? Absolutely not. So I put it off till I have to. Now, I'm not saying I wait weeks and weeks, but I put it off to the weekend, and then it messes up my weekend and then I'm upset and then I'm beating myself up. How about taxes? Taxes is coming around soon. And how long do we put off doing our taxes, pulling all the information to get together, getting all the receipts, checking all our bank account, pulling in all the finding out where we're spending our money, finding out our budget information. Well, not that budget, but our spending information, where we've spent a lot of our money, finding out what are all the things you have to pull together for the taxes. You can see I'm not the one that does the taxes around here. But the thing is, we put it off getting those things together. And so then we're there at what is it, April 15th? And we're not done, and now we have to pay a penalty or ask for an extension. So we've put it off too long. It's avoidance of making a decision is another thing that we do when we have lack of motivation. So, you know, you don't want to do it, you're not interested in it, so you avoid it or you decide, how about wanting to go somewhere or someone wanting you to go somewhere with them and you say, "I'll let you know." And then it's too late, or they're mad at you. It's because you really didn't want to go in the first place and all you had to do is say, maybe not this time, but next time, let me know and I'll let you know, or say, no, it's not something I'm really interested in, and just don't want to do it. I'd love to do something else with you, but it's not something I'm interested in. And then another thing is anything adverse, those negative feelings that we have towards a task, whatever it is. Let me think. What are the things that I have negative? Exercise. I know how good exercise is for me. And I actually feel good after I exercise. But boy, oh boy, I will wait to the last minute in the day or whatever when I'm more tired because it's not something that I'm thrilled about. So, negative feelings towards the task, you avoid for that. Boredom, again, if it's something you're not interested in, resentment because you have to do something that you really don't want to do, um, difficulty that it's hard for you to do, or just it's not something that you like. And when I'm saying that, I'm saying discuss for whatever the task is. And particularly anything that is negative in your mind, have a negative connotation in your mind, then you avoid doing it. So you procrastinate doing it. And one of the things I've learned, I think it's helped me most when it's something that I fear or something that I really don't want to do. And that's another one, fear of the outcome or what may happen to you when you do something. And one of the things that I found is to tackle those things first. Is I when I hate doing something, when I'm afraid of something, I just like to do it first and get it out of the way. And then it's not holding over my head and it's not bothering me all day. So, one of the things that a study at a business school, Otago Business School of Department of Economics, they did a study on procrastination and they found that no deadline wins. One of the things I like is I tell people when I have a project that I'm working on for them or I'm doing something for someone is don't tell me, don't mess with me along the way. Just give me the drop dead deadline when I have to get it to you. And that works for me. But that doesn't work for everyone. We always think if there's that sense of urgency that that would make someone do something faster. But that was not true. In fact, the shorter the deadline, they would try to get it done, but the pressure was just too much. And a lot of times they didn't do it. 1 month, there was actually no urgency. So people didn't care. And it's like, I'll get to it. You know how we put that off? Oh, I got a month. I'll get to it. And you never get to it. Or you forget that you have it coming up and you don't do it. And then finally, there is no deadline. So they found out when there was no deadline, there was less pressure and there was a sense of urgency in the mind of those people that maybe I'm not sure when I need to get it done. So I'll hurry up and get it done. So there was an assumed deadline for these people. And so there was a natural urgency to get things done. So all that to say that when there's no deadline, the no deadline won because of that natural urgency and people got more done. People did more in that time. So now we're going to move on to bullet point number 2, how to even get started on a task. Well, one of the things that really work best is to actually take that task, whatever it is, and break it down into smaller tasks. Because we find a lot of times we underestimate the time that it's going to take to do a particular task. So if we break it down, we start looking, oh, this, and also not only breaking it down, but finding out what in that task is going to involve the help of someone else because we can't uh buy someone else's time. So one of the things is just what else do I have to have someone pull someone else to help me with, and how much time is going to take for me to wait on them, or am I putting that in my equation? So break down it in smaller tasks and do one small task at a time. And you start making headway and you realize that you've gotten through the whole task way before you even thought. And then get them out of your head. Always write it down. When I think of something I have to do, I immediately just write it down. So I don't have to spend all that energy and time trying to remember what it was I had to do. One of my favorite things to talk about is going in the grocery store. How much time you spend trying to remember what it is you have to get that if you didn't write it down. And I've told you many times, my husband and I, one of the things we do is we have a list that we share. Um, that way that whenever we need something, we both put it on the list and we know when we're out and about. So even putting things on a list, if you have kids, make sure you have a list on the refrigerator of things that you want to remember or want them to remember to do. And don't even put a date on it. Remember that about no deadline. Just start putting the things on the refrigerator that you want them to do. Part of that study is one of the things they found out is um, one of the women she talked about, actually one of the professors talked about the fact that she had her daughter and she would always, you got to do the dishes before you go this, do this before you do this, and she stopped doing that. And so she would just tell her daughter, don't forget to do the dishes, or could you do the dishes for me, or could you load the dishwasher for me? And she wouldn't say any more. And she said she'd come back in the kitchen and her daughter was loading the dishwasher. So see if that no deadlines work for you and your environment, whether it's at work, telling someone that you need them to get a project done, or whether it's at home, but try the no deadline thing. And then this 2-minute rule. Now, this is one of my favorite. So never visit something more than once. And I try to stick with this. So as I'm looking at what I need to do, I determine whether it's a project. And I learned this from Jordan Rayner and his book, what's the name? Redeeming Your Time. So um, I asked, I asked myself, okay, is this something that I can do now? Is it something that will take a short amount of time? And if it takes 2 minutes or less, I do it right then. So, for instance, we take an email, right? If there's an email and I'm going through my emails and I'm deciding when I'm looking at is this something I have to put as a project and do later because it's going to take me a long time? I'm going to have to research some information. I'm going to have to go ahead and um, um, think through this before I write my reply back. If I've got to take all that time, then I put that and I set time aside for that. But if it's an email and someone just wrote me a quick and all I have to do is do a quick thank you, I'll get back to you or whatever, I do it. That's that 2-minute rule. If whatever it is you're doing or you have to do is less than 2 minutes, don't put it off. Just do it now when you're right there before it. So that's my 2-minute rule. Another thing is make a decision and only visit it when you're ready to act on it. So a lot of times we spend time going over stuff, trying to figure out, and then we procrastinate because we really don't want to do it or whatever it is. So I set up aside different times of the day for different things. If you've been around me for a long time, you realize that there are a lot of times that I know when my strongest point is for writing content, for doing things. Why am I here before you this morning, first thing in the morning? Because this is a good time for me to be before you talking about content, remembering. I do that better in the morning. But when I want to be creative and do that stuff, that's either in the evening or in the afternoon when I like to do um, stuff with graphics, stuff that just more the creative side of my brain. I work that better in the afternoon. But with that said, when I have to make a decision, I only visit certain things at certain times of day and I actually set aside time. And I like that 1 hour, 90-minute things that I really focus on things because I realize I get more done then. We'll talk about that more. Then also, I want you to choose the most important, not the easiest. And I just said that a few minutes. The thing you fear, the most important, and not the easiest. A lot of times we choose the easiest because we think, oh, I can just fly through these things and get these things done real quick, you know, and then realize at the end of the day, I didn't get anything important that I need to get done. It's because we tried to just check off things and make our to do list look great, right? Well, that doesn't make you feel good at the end of your day. So choose the most important and not the easiest and get that done. So now our final point today is the secrets of productive people. And I just want to share with you 10 things that productive people do differently. So the first thing is have an environment free of distractions. So if your phone is a distraction for you watching all the notifications and stuff, lay it on its face so you're not always watching it being distracted. If your email popping up giving you notifications or even your email being up will make you look at it or glance at it when you're trying to concentrate on a particular task, well, put your email down, hit that little minus like sign and just put it down. You don't have to close it out, but you can put it down. So the other thing is a lot of junk. If is does that distract you or or just having food up there and that makes you want the snack, whatever it is, have an environment free of distractions of things that would distract you. And that means even if you're working from home and the TV is on and you'll get distracted and start watching TV, whatever it is, make sure your environment is free from distractions. Another one is see being overly busy as a lack of focus. So, busy doesn't mean you're getting a lot of things done. So, it's better to have focused time on your task. And I just talked about that. It's the fact that I like to put an hour away to work on a task until work until that hour is up and then I move on to something else. But that gives me concentrated, focused time on that particular task. And a lot of times I get it busy in that, get it finished in an amount of time. Then use technology to help you with productivity. So if you have little gadgets, little apps, or whatever that help you along the way, that make things easier for you, I like dealing with workflows and automating things, automating as many things as I can. In fact, one of my most favorite platforms that I'm using right now is called funnel streams, where I get to automate a lot of things so that I'm more efficient. Another is rest and mental and physical health. That is so important. I know that rest is really important to me, but your mental and physical health, walking away, getting exercise in, changing your environment, all of that is good for your mental, physical, and rest. So, and health. And sometimes your rest doesn't mean that you have to go to sleep. It just means resting your brain from the particular task that you're doing right now and doing something different. Go do a puzzle or go read a book or go take a walk, but just get away from the computer or whatever it is that you're working on. Now, another thing is work in sprints. I just talked about that. And that's what one of the 10 things that productive people do is work in sprints. 90-minute sprints is what they said is most used. 90, and I think that's the Pomodoro method. I can't remember if that's the one it is, but 90-minute sprints, and then take a few minutes, 15 minutes or whatever, and then get back to something else. Confront avoidance. Just be honest with yourself. If you're avoiding something, own up and then ask yourself why. Why am I avoiding this? What am I afraid of? What am I running from? And then manage your emotions. Don't let your emotions get the best of you. And that's a no-brainer. I mean, not a no-brainer, but there's easy to understand. I don't have to explain that one to you. Now, own your time. It's your time. Work smarter, not harder. You determine what it is you want to do when. You have control of your time. So own your time. Make a habit of taking the time to step back. Oh, I love this one. That's when I'm my most productive. Now, I'm not saying I do all 10 of these things and that I'm good. I'm not necessarily the most productive person, but I like to think I'm productive, pretty good. So make a habit of taking the time to step back. I love to just walk away sometimes. Sometimes it's when I'm down fixing me something to eat, getting a cup of coffee, that my thoughts are my best. When I take a shower, my thoughts are my best. Sometimes you just have to get away from where you are and let your mind just rest. And that's when you get your most creative. So, finally, number 10, have a plan on how to say no. Oh, my favorite, saying no. There is an art to saying no. And you don't even have to use those two letters and say no, but have a plan to saying no, what you're going to say no to, what your non negotiables are. And so, again, all 10: environment free of distractions, see being overly busy as a lack of focus, using technology to help with productivity, rest and mental and physical health, work in sprints, 90 minutes, confront avoidance, manage emotions, own your time, make a habit of taking time to step back and have a plan to say no. Those are the 10 secrets or 10 things that productive people do differently. And so, with that said, We are at the end of our day. Today we went over, and let me go back. So the three things that we went over today was know when you're most likely to put things off and find out what your triggers are. Why? Know how to get started on your task at hand. How are you going to get started on your task at hand? And finally, the secrets of productive people, the 10 things that productive people do. And it's not the only things. So, I want to also invite you to join our community of what I call the Monday Crew. We would love to have you there, where I share tidbits, tips, and techniques to master your Monday and your life. Look, I am so thrilled that you were able to hang out with me today for our Monday morning chat. If you have any questions or you want to share anything with me, make sure you do that in the comments, even if you're watching uh, watching the replay. Make sure, and I will check back and forth to look for your questions so that I can answer them for you. Listen, you are amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I hope you enjoyed this live. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit subscribe, follow, or just register so that you won't miss a single episode, a single live in the future. Want to know what I'm up to? Make sure, and let me see if I can get this right. Make sure that you go and visit meet.michelleo'neil.com, and you will know everything that I'm up to. Well, maybe not everything, but most things that I'm up to. Let me know how I can serve and support you better so that you can master every day like it's your Monday. Bye bye. Take care.